I'm Bill Shannon. I'm president of the Chatham Railroad Museum Association and standing in the Chatham Railroad Museum here in Chatham. The building is actually owned by the village of Chatham. We have a legal agreement with them to create and manage this museum. Currently I'm standing in what was formerly known as the ladies' waiting room. And I say ladies' waiting room because there is also a men's waiting room, which we will, after seeing this room, we'll do a short view of that room. Interestingly, in southern states back 1902 era when this building was built, they had two separate waiting rooms, basically white and colored. And we first were not sure if this building was that or what, but I've learned that actually it was ladies, were separated, ladies and young kids, and then men. And the story kind of goes that, well, back 118 years ago, women were, quote, more ladylike, didn't smoke in public or curse or anything. They dressed up, and everything, and men chewed tobacco and didn't bathe as often and told dirty jokes and stuff, so kind of that's why they separated. So when that ended, we're not sure, probably by the 20s it kind of came to an end. But anyway, as far as the room, this, of course, the shelves here are not original to this room, but all the books and materials on here are all, of course, pertaining to railroads, both local and elsewhere. And these are it's the library for our members. And by the way, we always welcome new members if anyone is interested to join, $24 a year for the entire family. And if you're a member, you can check any of these books or videos out and for a month and from one meeting to the next. Below that is just a wooden storage cabinet, not original to the building, but yet fits in to the room somewhat. Don't know if you can tell or not, but the walls in this room and ceiling are varnished wood. When this building was restored, people removing paint, it was all painted, and they started scraping, and somebody counted, they scraped off 17 layers of paint that had been applied over the years. They got down to the wood, it was actually varnished. So this is the original wood as it was when the building was built. It's varnished yellow pine primarily, which makes it rather interesting and unique, I believe. And moving further down this big long cabinet, more materials here. Now these are all reference materials that anybody, and not just a member, but anybody that wants to do reference research into railroads or whatever is welcome to use them. We just don't want them to leave the building, whether it's a member or a member of the public. Gap here, you may notice those books are on the table here. We're in the process of cataloging all of the items in the depot into a computer database. So that's a works in progress. Speaking of progress eliminated this particular item. Back prior to radio, etc., trains always had to have orders, telling them how fast to go, another train was coming, etc., etc. And the station man, if he had by telegraph orders to tell train such and such to slow down to 20 mile an hour because there's work on the tracks or something, they'd write a message out on paper, roll it up, tie it to a string across this fork, and when the train came, they'd go out, stand on the platform and hold this up, and as the train came by, the engineer would stick his arm out and grab it. The string would just pop off here. It's very easy to pop off. And interestingly enough, if the engineer missed it or he dropped it, he had to stop the train, back up, and retrieve it. That was an order. And also something that railroads did, I think interesting. This is a mail bag from the Illinois Terminal Railroad, and it was for inter-office mail. They had U.S. mail bags, which were large, much bigger than this, but this was for inter-office mail from one railroad station or one office building to another on the railroads. Very heavy canvas, and probably like the U.S. mail, when they went by the office or station where it was supposed to be, they just throw it off the train, and then they go retrieve it because it's a very heavy made canvas material. Sitting beside, I think, is something interesting. I don't know how well it shows on camera, but all these metal strips were used, and I believe they still use today, to seal the doors on freight cars, like a boxcar. Each one has the name of the railroad and a serial number, and it's not really like a padlock, but if somebody breaks into the car, they have to cut or remove that. Well, there's a record of it that it was removed at such and such a place. Set that so it doesn't fall over on me. Some more pictures on the wall. Picture here of Chicago and Illinois Midland passenger engine. Probably can't get a good picture here with all the glare, but those were discontinued in 1953, pulling passenger trains with steam engine. Of course, the door here was where you could enter or exit the building onto the brick platform for the trains. And of course now, there's no brick platform. It's been removed and the railroad installed a fence so you can't even get to the tracks. Framed here on the wall is just a whole collection of different items from all different railroads. Some are timetables, some are ink blotters. It's just a collection of all kinds of different items from Amtrak, GM&O, Burlington, you name it, it's there. This was the intercom system that had been used in some railroad offices. These were insulators. When they used telegraphs, they had to put these on the pole and fit over a wooden peg. They'd hold the wires so they didn't short out. And of course, down below, beside the boxes, anyway, that would have been signs that stop on the red signal would have been clamped onto the post of a railroad crossing sign, and has like glass marbles that are reflective, so at night and headlights would show up real good. Map, that's the map of the Chicago and Illinois Midland Railroad from Taylorville clear up to Peoria, and names every little town or stop all along the road. As soon as we get it hung up, you'll be able to see it better. It's a sign, original Illinois Terminal Railroad sign from a depot in Mackinac, Illinois, which is up towards Peoria. And of course, in wintertime, this is a very important item. To heat the stove, heating stove to heat the room. And of course, it originally would have had a pipe go from here up into the chimney. Actually, that's kind of a thing, having the chimney plug, because years ago, at least in homes, they'd take the pipe off and haul the stove out for summertime, and in fall, they'd put it back in and hook it back up. Don't know if they did that in a depot or not, but anyway, this is an original type of stove that we've been using here. So I think that pretty well covers, this room. So why don't we move on into the men's waiting room?